Howdy, it's Ryan. How's it going? Good. That's awesome. Well, here we are today. I'm going to give you a little lesson on how to play in the key of G major on the guitar. Right on, let's check it out. Alright, so the key of G major is based on the G major scale, if you happen to know your scale. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. We're in a movable Do. G major scale has G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and we can finish on a G again for the octave. So from those notes we build chords. So the first chord in the key of G, of course, is a G major. Just like the first note of the G major scale is a G, G major. The second note of the scale, and therefore the second chord in the key of G, is an A. It's the note. We get an A minor chord. The third note in the scale of G major is a B. And the third chord in the key of G is a B minor. Get the idea? Fourth chord in the scale, G, A, B, C. We get the fourth chord in the key of G is a C. The 4 chord. The fifth note of a G major scale is a D. The fifth chord in the key of G is a D, right? The sixth note of a G major scale is an E. And if we build a chord on that using the notes from the scale, we get our E minor, which is the sixth chord in the key of G. The seventh and final note of the scale is an F sharp of a G major scale, and so that also gives us the seventh chord of the key. Now in major keys our seventh chord ends up being a diminished chord, and for most of the people watching this, you're probably not going to use any diminished chords unless you're into metal or progressive stuff. This lesson is really geared at the more like beginning guitarists, and you're trying to get a handle on playing chords and what chords work well together in major keys. This is good for like if you have some musicians, church musicians, you play in a worship band maybe, and you know you get your songs that are in the key of G or in the key of D or whatever. You're trying to figure out what that means. Well, a key is just simply a family of chords that work well together, really. That's one way of putting it. That's the simplest way. They all come from the scale. So you have a major scale, and from each note of that scale we build a chord, and that's what gives us our chords in the keys. So to recap, in the key of G major we have the first chord of the key is a G major. The second chord in the key is an A minor. The third chord in the key of G is a B minor. The fourth chord in the key of G is a C. The fifth chord in the key of G is a D. The sixth chord in the key of G is a E minor. And then we have our seventh chord, which would be an F sharp diminished. In most popular music, and by pop music I don't mean Britney Spears, but I mean popular, like country music and your kind of traditional rock type music and acoustic folk type music. Generally not a lot of diminished chords get used. So you can think of every key has got 7 chords in it. And for most purposes you can completely forget about the 7th chord. The 7th chord in the key of a major key is always a diminished. And again, in more pop type music, which includes rock and country and blues and folk and Americana acoustic-y stuff, and generally like worship type music, you won't be using any diminished chords. In the metals, yeah, we diminish it all up. So really every key's got 7 chords. Depending on the style of music, you really only have 6 usable chords. And honestly, in most songs, if you're coming from like a church band, worship band kind of thing, most of the time in the song you're not going to use all 6. You will, however, use 3 for sure. And in the key of G, that's going to be your G chord, which is your 1 chord, if we give them numbers in the relationship of the key. You're going to use your D chord, which is the 5 chord in the key. If G is 1, G, A, B, C, D would be the 5th chord if you put them in order. The 1 chord is G. The 5 chord is your D. Your 4 chord is maybe in the next order of importance. Is it going to be a C chord? And then the next most used chord probably is going to be the 6th chord of the key, which is sometimes you'll hear people call it the minor 6. In the key of G, that's an E minor. Right? So G, D, C, E minor. You also have the 2 chord, or it's a minor chord, the minor 2. Sometimes you'll hear it referred to as that. Well, the 2nd chord in the key of G, G is 1, A is next. It's A minor in the key of G. So an A minor. 90% of popular songs out there are used the 1 chord, the 5, the 4, the minor 6, and the minor 2. 1, 4, 5, minor 6, minor 2. That is the majority of most songs. Now, however, sometimes I will throw in the 3 chord. Sometimes you call it a minor 3 in the G major key, which would be a B minor. In the key of G, the 3rd chord. First chord's G, second's A. The 3rd chord of the key would be a B. If we build a chord on that, we have a B minor. A lot of times that minor 3 chord is reserved for like the bridge of the song. So that's usually when that'll pop up. So to play in the key of G, pretty simple. G chords, D chords, C chords, E minor chords, and A minor chords. And very occasionally you will get that minor 6, which happens to be a B minor. Which is, most people will play that as a bar chord. If you're not good at bar chords yet, which a lot of beginners are usually not, there's another way to play that B minor. First finger, first string, 2nd fret. 2nd finger, 2nd string, 3rd fret. Now we're going to take our pinky and get the 3rd string, 4th fret with your pinky, and our ring finger also on the 4th fret, but on the 4th string. There's the 4-string version of a B minor. Most of the time you'll keep the same position, but bring your first finger up and bar that 5th string, 2nd fret. But if you're not good at barring right here, you can just... So, those are the chords that you need to play the key of G. Alright, now one thing you'll probably see, because there's more than one way to play chords, sometimes you see people play G chords like this. Using these fingers. I like to do it I call it the Guns N' Roses G. Where I've got my pinky on the first string, 3rd fret. Ring finger is on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. First finger is on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. And then my middle finger is on the 3rd fret of the 6th string. Right? I like that one particularly because when you go from this to a D, you can leave that ring finger down as an anchor. And when you go to your D chord, that finger never moves. Okay? Something else you'll see, I'm going to give you some alternate chords that you'll use in the key of G sometimes, besides just your regular plain Jane, Melba, C chord. You also will sometimes use a C add 9 or a C2. People call it both sometimes, which is really just this Guns N' Roses G chord that I love so much. And you're going to leave your pinky and your ring finger where they are on the 3rd fret, 1st string, 2nd string. But we're going to take these 2 fingers and just drop them from the 5th and 6th string to the 4th and 5th string. It's kind of like that Guns N' Roses G, but we're going to take these 2 fingers and move them down to the next set of strings. It's called a C add 9 or a C2 because we're basically playing a C chord, C, E, and G, and then we're adding a 4th note to it, a D. So sometimes in the key of G you'll see a C2, C add 9, sometimes it's notated both ways. G, C2, D. Another common thing, you know, E minor is a main chord of this key. A lot of times you'll see E minor 7, and you can play that by taking your Guns N' Roses G, again leaving your pinky and your ring finger put, and then we're going to play our E minor with these first 2 fingers. Let me get close! We're going to play our E minor with these 2 guys. But use our pinky and our ring finger to get the G, C2, C2, D, E minor 7, and of course your A minor. Sometimes you'll see A minor 7, and that is a really easy chord to play because you just take an A minor. And I'm going to lift up my 3rd finger. That gives you an A minor 7. You need to be able to go back and forth from any one of those chords to any of the other chords to play well in the key of G. G chord, C, or C add 9, a D chord, an A minor chord, maybe an A minor 7, which is easy. A minor, take away your 3rd finger, an E minor. You can also play an E minor 7, which is a real common use. Right? And then you also have the B minor, maybe the least commonly used chord in the key of G major. Play it as a bar chord, or you can do the simpler version where it's not a bar chord, it's just a 4-string on the first 4 strings. And those are the chords that you need to play popular type songs in the key of G. There you go. So any questions, please leave a comment below if you want some further explanation. If you liked this video, please like it. Click like wherever it is. And if you'd like to see more videos from me, my Chapman guitar ML2 and my beard, why not subscribe? That would be awesome. I would appreciate it. Thank you. Keep the music alive.